back, y'all. Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Watch Your Mouth Reviews. This is your boy James. But I am here to give my honest review while trying to watch my mouth. And it's not gonna happen this video, but that's all right. We'll live to fight another day. Joining me as always is my co-host who is live on camera, y'all. Y'all say what's up to her.
Hi, I am on my phone, you guys. But I'm happy to be here. I'm trying to be on camera more. Y'all motivating me. So thank you. Like the video, subscribe to James. Don't be here not liking the video or subscribing. At least participate. Hell.
Right. Because I got a bone to pick with some of y'all. On my last live, which would have been Heart and Hustle Houston, I got over 300 views. And I know my subscriber count has not changed. I probably got 2 subscribers out of that. I'm happy that y'all subscribing, some of y'all, but come on, y'all. It's free. It's not going to cost you anything. Get that algorithm going, especially if you like what you see. But while you subscribing to me, go ahead and subscribe to Mrs. Best because any recaps or reviews that I don't cover on my channel, we're on her channel covering them. Like we have Love and Hip Hop right after this on Mrs. Best channel. If y'all love that show and don't want to miss it, y'all gonna subscribe to her so we can go ahead and read them fulfilled. But while we read fulfilled, we on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City for right now. And y'all, let me tell y'all, Bronwyn hurt my feelings. She really did with that read. Oh, I can't wait to get to it. Mm-mm-mm. But this is episode 2 for season 6. It's called Law and Out of Order. And yes, I love this title. Whoever came up with this, Stella Bravo in that call center. Whoever came up with this, give them feedback from me. That was an epic title because it's exactly how I felt. Everybody was out of order. So the episode opens up where it left off, which the ladies were sleeping in the RV. We had some flashbacks of the Blair Witch Project starring the Salt Lake City women. I was not amused by that, but you know, I love the Blair Witch Project movie. I love both of them. And, you know, this was kind of like insulting, but you know, it is what it is. But it was cute nonetheless. I can't believe Mary slept in that RV. I thought for sure Mary was going to a hotel and leaving them there, but she roughed it up. So the ladies are, you know, cooking breakfast, and I was laughing because Mary looked at Bronwyn cooking them steaks. She said, "Bronwyn, you don't know what you're doing. Why are you cooking them steaks?" And Bronwyn's like, "Mary's not wrong to question my culinary skills because the seasoning literally was in the middle of the steak." I was like, she tried, y'all. She tried. So the ladies are in a circle, and you know they're eating breakfast, and Heather is saying to the ladies that her last baby is about to graduate, and she's about to be an empty nester, and she actually cannot wait. She said for the full time that she's been raising her daughters, she's been doing it alone. Her husband has never had them overnight, which I thought was diabolical, if you ask me. And she said that she is just ready for them to go. And Bronwyn was like, you know, Heather, I can relate to that. I come from the same lifestyle. My parents have been married, you know, over 50 years. They're also Mormon as well. And I had a baby out of wedlock. And, you know, right now I moved Gwen and her boyfriend in my home because I don't want her to leave. I'm not ready for her to go yet. So now I'm questioning my parenting because, you know, it's different from you. You're pushing them out the door and I want her to come right in. So she was trying to kind of relate to Heather, but all Heather heard was, "Oh, so you're saying I'm not a good mom because I'm ready to push my daughter out the house? Like, what is that? Like, you know?" And she goes, "No, no, 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 no. I'm not trying to do that, Heather. I'm just saying, you know, I, you know, felt like I parented a little differently, and I'm not ready for my daughter to go." And I'm looking at Heather like, you just really want a problem with this lady. So, Mrs. Best, I have to ask you, do you think Brahman was really trying to relate to Heather, or do you think Brahman was being shady when she was, you know, comparing herself to Heather?
I don't think she was being shady. Like you said, I do think that Heather just doesn't like Bronwyn. I don't think per se it's that it's a little bit of her wanting a problem with her, but I think the bigger reason why, hi Naya, I miss you. I think the bigger reason why it annoys me is because Heather doesn't like anybody new. Everybody that comes in new, she pretty much tries to kiss their ass, or if she can't kiss their ass, then she tries to get them out. Like she sat and smiled in Monica's face last season while digging up whatever she could to figure out that Monica wasn't meant to be in the group. When Bronwyn came into the group, first it was, oh, this and that with income. Then it was questioning her marriage. Now it's this. So I'm just kind of like with Heather, maybe if you could find some dick, bitch, you wouldn't be so pressed on the people joining the show and weird stuff about motherhood. Also, she could keep her sad fucking story. I'm sorry to curse so early, but I'm gonna just say it because I don't care. My daddy was a Panther and I love and root for everybody black. I'm tired of colorless women like this who have everything that they could possibly want, even in the worst circumstance, such as a divorce. The fuck are you complaining about? I feel like I was doing all of this. Okay, Heather, if it was so hard, you had the money and the means to hire some help, but you didn't. So go away. Because there's a lot of other women out there who get a divorce and truly end up like with nothing, having to rebuild with a bunch of kids. So it's like on one end, it's relatable, but then on the other end, it shows how tone deaf this cast can be.
I just thought when she said that her husband never had the girls overnight, I'm just like, that is absolutely insane to me. Because there's no way I'm raising three girls, each one of them for 18 years, and you don't take them not one damn time to your house.
Happens all the time. That's why I say she can take her sad fucking story and go somewhere else. If she was a regular person or a new cast member, if this was Monica with her, how many kids she got now? 5, 6, 12, 9, 24. I don't know. But at least with Monica, like she left her spouse, was shunned in the community, didn't really had no money, was working as an assistant to Jen Shaw. That's more relatable than Heather's story. So I feel for her. I don't want to negate what she's gone through, but what the fuck does she want us to get a violin? Your kids turned out great. There's nothing wrong with them. You have income. What was she crying about? Somebody put this woman on a date or get her off the show.
Yeah,
I wonder if her coochie smells like brimstone and like sulfur. Because why is this lady so against going on a date on this show? These kids is grown and out the house. I don't want her to use them for storylines no more. Sorry, I don't like Heather.
well, I wouldn't have went that far with it. I said I was gonna read Heather fulfill, which I am when I get there. But dang, I don't feel like I'm hurt Heather's feelings. Like she just, but no, like Naya said, she do be upset, like she just missing out on, you know, regular things that are warm. So I just feel like, hey, Heather, you don't have to show it in every aspect. But Whitney chimes in and Whitney says, Heather, I wish I can be a stay-at-home mom. Not that me and Justin did mess our finances all up with the failure of this business. I can't be at home. I got to get up and work. So now I'm kind of kicking myself in the foot because I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And it was like, I need you and Justin to go into grave detail about what happened by episode 7. I need to know in I need to know exact detail of what happened with that business since you keep bringing it up but don't want to give any of your information. Whitney, I'm reading you fulfilled by episode 7 if I don't get extreme detail because I want to know how this happened. Moving on. So, as Whitney's giving her little sob story, she then asks Mary, how is Robert Jr. doing? And Mary was honest. Mary said, he's doing as good as he can. Some days are good, some days is bad. And I love that Mary is honest and like saying, like, look, she didn't go with oh, he's doing so great since he got out of rehab and he's really putting his foot forward. Mary's like, look, some days are good, some days is bad. I knew it wasn't gonna be easy. He's been in there for 30 days, and she told them like she had to sit him down with Robert Sr. and say, hey, like you need to straighten up, which we're gonna get into in a minute because I have a little bit of a gripe with Mary as well. But she tells Heather, I commend you for doing it all by yourself with 3 girls. I didn't have any help. I just had Robert Sr. and I couldn't imagine doing it without him. And I'm looking at Mary like, Mary, come on, you is another one that got a whole lot of money and could hire some help, but you only have one child. And we're gonna get to that scene in a minute, y'all, because I have some talk for Mary. But they all, as they're in the conversation, Angie said, okay, well, that was wonderful. Everything is beautiful, but now we got to go. Because Angie got to get the return back on this rental. So she was like, okay, well, everybody, let's go. And then as the driver was trying to get the RV to go, it got stuck. And she goes, okay. Angela's like, okay, everybody pushing. Mary is me in this moment. Mary said, I'm not pushing nobody's RV. Mary stayed her behind in that RV while the rest of them pushing. Even Brittany was like, where's Mary? And I was like, baby, Mary not coming out there to help y'all. Mary like, look, y'all come on and push this thing up so I can go. Mrs. Best, but you ain't got up and helped to push that RV.
Absolutely not. And I'm not rich. It ain't got nothing to do with that. Just know this. If you invite me somewhere and something happens with your vehicle, you better have AAA. That is all I feel.
Right? Because I am not pushing not a damn thing. So they get squared away and then they go off. So is there anything else you want to add to that scene? Because I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next scene. All right. So we move on to the next scene. Heather goes and meets up with Lisa. This is Lisa's first time on camera this season. So they meet up for lunch. And when Heather walked in, Heather looked crazy. I was that black lady sitting in the corner looking at Heather's outfit. I was like, what in the hell do you have on? Wow, Heather. I mean, somebody help Heather, please. Because that black lady was me and I was that black lady. I was trying to snatch screenshot of her face because I was hollering when I saw that face looking her up and down. But they began talking, and Lisa asked, well, how was the trip, Heather? Like, how was everybody? Where'd you guys go? So Heather explains where they went and everything. And she tells Lisa, you were, for you not to be there, you were the forefront of a lot of conversations we were having. Lisa's like, really? What was said? And Heather tells her, well, Bronwyn brought up your lawsuits and pretty much, the details that she researched and everything. And Lisa was like, oh my God, I can't believe that's happened. Like, wow, like this is so crazy to me that she would do this. And Heather's like, yeah, I thought it was crazy too. And I immediately defended you because I was like, why would you bring this up? And Lisa was all like, well, who else said something to Brownway? Did Meredith say anything? And Heather goes, well, Meredith defended you in the beginning. She did. And then, as the conversation continued, she kind of just stopped. And, Angie chimed in with Bronwyn as well. And, you know, also doubled down on the lawsuits too, saying that she saw that. And it was like, oh God, here we go, Heather. Here we go. Here we go. And Lisa was like, so it seems like you were the only one defending me. You were the only person defending me, Heather. Like Meredith didn't say anything. And it was like, Lisa, see, this is how you twist shit. She never said that Meredith did not say anything. She said Meredith defended you in the beginning, and then the conversation kept turning and she couldn't defend you anymore. So she didn't say she didn't defend you, and that's Lisa's problem right there. Lisa always has to spark some narrative to always make herself seem like some kind of victim, and it's so tiring. And Lisa gets to crying, talking about the lawsuits, it's all lies. And I'm like, oh God, here we go. I love production for putting all of the lawsuits all up there and also putting in grave details the shit that Lisa's trying to debunk. I love it. Bravo and that call center, good job. Production, good job. Editors, good job. So, Mrs. Best, how did you feel about this part of the conversation? I'm gonna get to another part that kind of pissed me off. But how did you feel about Heather explaining the trip?
I mean, I'm not surprised. She was like one of them little pigeon carriers, the delivery pigeons, the ones Mike Tyson was playing with. Because the moment that she was able to report back what happened on that trip, she reported it back. And if she really cared about Lisa, aside from just being friendly with Lisa, probably for some type of relevance, then in my opinion, what the heck is he doing? Sorry, y'all. I'm outside waiting on my husband to swoop me up. And this man has taken 17 years to come out of the parking garage. But yeah, I was annoyed with Heather. It was just kind of cringy. Like, ooh, let me go report back to Massa. Like, what, bitch? No.
Let me read. She did tell the bare minimum. It was like, but Heather, you made sure to get your sleeve was clean in this shit. It's something about that, Heather, and that, has to be with the popular girl syndrome. Like she's still in high school. This woman's almost 50 years old. This is crazy. Hi, Shani. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. No worries, love. We just got started. So as Lisa is throwing her tantrum and crying her tears and stuff, and she goes, I'm just different from all of you guys. Like I don't live the same lifestyle as you guys. I'm completely different. And Heather's looking like, I mean, you're not that much different. We all have businesses. We all have, things going on that, in favor of us. So you're not that much different. And she goes, oh no, I'm completely different. And Heather in her confessional, see, this is Lisa's problem with this elitist attitude that she has. It's like you're always wanting to make sure you point out the details that you're so much different than all the rest of us. And we're just here to support you and love you. And we don't need to hear all of that. And I said, Heather, and that's your problem. You being this enabler. All for what? So the popular girl in the clique can like you at the end of the day? It's like, it's so pathetic. So you have no room. You have no room to talk about Lisa when you do the most irresponsible shit, which is be a glutton for punishment. So it's crazy that you would even. I mean, I'm glad you're aware of it. I mean, I'm happy. I thought you're not completely in the dark, but it's crazy to me that you, out of all people, are really trying to sit here and try to say, "Well, I love you regardless of you being elitist towards me and you calling me, beneath you right in my face." But that's just Heather, y'all. It's just Heather. Shani said Lisa got A plus in that class in high school. Little white women tears. She does it better than Kyle sometimes. You know what? I think Kyle still got her beat, but she's a good runner up for Kyle. Like she really is when it comes to that. Is it me or Heather was over watching her cry and didn't blink? I think what it is that Heather is Gretchen Wieners and Lisa is Regina George. It's kind of like she knows Regina George is full of shit, but she's going to try to make fetch happen no matter how many times Regina shuts it down. That's what we're looking at. That is exactly what we're looking at when it comes to Lisa and Heather. It's the most pathetic thing I've ever seen in my life, but at the end of the day, it's reality TV. So what can we say? So we're gonna move on from that scene because we have a lot to cover. So the next thing we're gonna talk about is Whitney and Bronwyn. I noticed Whitney got a new Range Rover, but Whitney's supposed to be having business failing and stuff. But you gonna buy a new
It
Range
could
Rover?
be a lease. It could also just be financed. Hell, she could have went on 2 row. We don't know. But it's not hard
She
to get
could
a
have.
car. It's not
No,
hard
it's
to get
not.
a
But I'm
car
just
at all.
saying, you might. Why get a Range Rover? And why get the top of the line Range Rover? That was a full size one. She could have got the mini one. Her kids, they could fit in that. I'm just saying. To me, I wouldn't make it so obvious that like to my employees I had to let go. Then I'm out here buying new cars and shit. I had to let y'all go when they get fired. That's just me. But what you say, Shani? Lisa's been Heather been on Lisa's dick since they was in high school or college, right? And since they got on this show, I can't validate the college thing because both of their stories were off. Not only Lisa's story was off about Heather, but Heather's story was off about Lisa. So I don't know what to believe. I know that they were in college together, but I don't think they were in high school together. I think Heather's older than Lisa, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, she is because Lisa's younger than Meredith. So yeah, Meredith and Heather would have been in high school together. So yeah. And Whitney got them kids on dirt bikes, and let's not forget last season they bought a golf cart, and also the kids let their ass run or walk them where they need to go. Right? That's sad. Heather still chase and acceptance goes. It is sad. It is the most pathetic thing I've ever seen in my life. But we're gonna move on. So Bronwyn and Whitney meet up and they're talking about the trip and everything. And Whitney is saying, I am so glad that you and Heather are, making some headway. And Brown was like, okay, yeah, we made some headway. I feel like with Heather, we take a baby step forward only to take 2,500 steps back. Like, I don't know what I said to her in that moment that made her just kind of come down on me. And Whitney's like, well, you have to call her out. Like, Heather does that a lot, where if you say the wrong thing, she's always going to take it wrong. Or when you say something, she's always going to take it like you're attacking her. You got to call her out in the moment, because if you don't call her out, she's going to always hold that against you. And I agree. Heather is one of those people that always takes shit wrong because deep down she feels like how she moves is wrong. So when you call it out, she's one of those people that are just going to, attack you for calling out the obvious that she's already feeling. So it's very hypochondriac syndrome. It really is, but you can't really prescribe that to someone without a license. So I'm not going to say that, but it is, given that to me. But as they are talking, Whitney's also said that how proud she was of her stepping out and talking about Lisa's lawsuits and how she's bringing that to the forefront. And, she's seen the same things and everything. But she says, but you had a little bit more detail. She goes, yeah, I read all of the lawsuits. I read the text messages against the guy who's suing her. Apparently, the guy had an Amex card that Lisa obtained, and there were text messages also in the lawsuit saying not to tell John. And Whitney wants to know, was this the same guy that Angie was talking about? And Ron was like, yeah, that's the same guy. And y'all remember, Whitney accused Lisa of this in season 3. So now we're wondering if this is that same guy too. I'm wondering that from season 3, where it was Lisa was being accused of, I don't think it was necessarily cheating, but getting funding through somebody else other than John. Now this is coming up again, but this time it's in a lawsuit. So they're trying to put 2 and 2 together. So Mrs. Best, I have to ask you, do you think that this man is suing Lisa out of spite because she no longer giving him the cookie? Do you think it was sexual? Do you think it was, what do you think it was?
I don't know. Like with lawsuits, I try not to make assumptions because a lot of times, like for instance, Erica Girardi on Beverly Hills, that's a good example. A lot of times, the stuff that we think it is not really what it is. But another true thing about lawsuits is that 90% of the time, the stuff that's alleged did happen. It just may not relate to what they're suing for, but I don't doubt any of it. I don't think the reason matters because if she didn't do something, he would not have. This would be not, it wouldn't be this big and all over the news and continuing on. So
I agree.
Lisa got caught. I'm not surprised because I'm like, how the fuck some lady with like old woman mouth and wrinkles around her snout? How the hell does she end up to have so much money? Like, especially where she's located and where she lives, like you can only do so much in that area. So I Lisa probably is like Jen Shaw a little bit, and people just don't want to admit it.
Well, it isn't adding up because as much as the reviews talk about this tequila and how mediocre it is, shout out to Todd, it does not make sense. I said the same thing about Kelly Farrell on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Her income doesn't make sense to me. You got one restaurant and it's literally in the middle of nowhere, and you got all this showcase of money, and then later it comes out that your credit card companies are suing you and you owe your landlord back rent from like months and months and months, and you're talking on the reunion talking about, oh, I had to pay my lawyer, so they just wanted to wait. It was like, but you're supposed to have all kind of money.
I feel like if it's one thing I've learned recapping reality TV versus just watching it, is these celebrities, reality TV celebrities, whatever you want to call them, they people just like us. They perpetrate, they want to fit in,
Yeah,
but they're willing, I think, to go to lengths that us as just regular humans would not think about to maintain income. And I feel like that's likely what happened with Lisa. But I do think, like, y'all, please don't talk about this all season, which I know they're going to do. There
right.
has to be something else because to me, the only reason Salt Lake City is even remotely interesting is because season after season, like that leads to
You're going
attorneys
out.
and legal stuff. Oh no.
No, it's okay. I kind of heard exactly what you said, but no, it's okay. It's kind of, you were going out a little bit.
Yeah. I'm so sorry, but yeah, I'm pretty over this show. Like they have nothing to give without their scandals. I think Angie's good. I think a lot of the women on the show have permission, like the potential to be interesting. But if you take away the scandal from this show, these bitches don't give nothing.
Mm,
Nothing.
interesting.
The newbies do. So I'm hoping, and we know Lisa's gonna bullshit about it, just like Jen Shaw BS'd about it. And that's the other thing. Like, please, Bravo, stop making these people talk about their legal issues when you know that they cannot talk about their legal issues. It's getting annoying because the whole season she's not going to confirm or deny anything. I can see it already, so I'm over it.
I agree. Absolutely. So then we move on, y'all. So then we go over to Mary's house. Robert Jr. comes into Mary's room and begins talking to her. And I'm going to tell you like this. I hated this scene because he did look inebriated. He looked like he was definitely, it was more than just some weed, allegedly. I don't know. I'm going to say allegedly to protect my channel. But it looked like it was more than just weed when he walked up in here. But he's, talking to her about how much, he feels down about, his life. He doesn't have the same friends anymore because that's all they want to do is still do what he used to do. He says that he's masking his pain with food and, drugs. And when he said that, Mary's like, wait, what? Drugs? What you talking about? And he was like, weed amongst other things. So he just said it out of his own mouth that he's still using. And Mary, is giving him the pep talk. And I'm just looking at this situation. When Mary said he was in rehab for 30 days, I felt like that wasn't long enough, Mary. Like that really was not long enough. And I need you to, because what Mary said is she took a step back and let him do his day to day. And I think that that's the wrong move. I get he a grown man, and I get you can't tell no grown person what to do, how to live, but you could start taking stuff from him that would aid and abet his, you know, reason to use. Like stop giving him an allowance, take away his car, saying, hey, you need to get you a job and start making him pay some rent and start making, he needs to occupy his time. He's sitting in that house bored. You could clearly see that. He needs work ethic. Let him go mow the lawn at the church. Let him go do something where his time is valuable. He needs to do constructive things with his time. Let him volunteer. Y'all are rich. Let him volunteer at a cafeteria where he's feeding the homeless. Why don't you get him out there and doing stuff with constructive with his time? But him sitting in that house eating and then still smoking weed and still doing things, that's not helping him. And you and Robert Sr. talking about, well, y'all made a deal where y'all gonna go day to day with him. It's like that doesn't work. He needs things to do. He needs things to distract his mind. And it was just so crazy to me listening to him and then watching him barely speak and barely can get his words out and looking very delayed and paused. It was like, wow, Mary, like, yeah, I think this is another cry for help, and you need to be paying better attention because we saw what happened in recent times. He got arrested, recently. He tried to, I guess, get in contact with that girl. He tried to break into the house, going through the doggy door. The father of the girl confronted him about it, and ended up getting arrested with aggravated assault and everything. So clearly, he's spazzing out, and this was probably the point of where it began. So, Mrs. Best, I need to get your opinion on this. How did you feel about the conversation between Mary and her son?
I think I do look at it from a different lens based on the work that I do and my educational background. This is why people that struggle with substances, binge drinking, any of that, that's why it's classified as a disease. You I think everyone's correct in feeling like Robert needed more time in rehab, but everyone is incorrect in expecting for Mary and Robert Sr. to do more. This young man is an adult, and I don't feel like Mary is stupid or takes this lightly. I feel like Mary is someone that is likely consulted with somebody or some type of professional on it because what she's doing is actually what any professional would recommend her to do. He has to live his own life. His parents are not always going to be there. So he needs to learn how to overcome his struggles by confiding in his parents, but then it's up to him to do the work. So it's heartbreaking to watch stuff like that. It kind of reminded me of my brother-in-law who did pass away recently and had a big struggle with substances. People have to want to get sober, and getting sober is just a small piece of the work. He obviously needs to be in therapy because 30 days of rehab can be enough if you're just like trying to detox, get centered, but you have to have a plan outpatient wise once you leave. And it doesn't seem like there is much of a plan, or he's not following through with it. But this is another example of when I'm like, okay, I appreciate her for being open because millions of people likely know someone who's struggling with addiction, substance use, all of that. However, let the young man heal. You know what I mean? Like, he's in the house. I think Mary will inch towards that tough love, but she's just discovered this big struggle. So I appreciate her for sharing, but I don't want her to keep showing it, if that makes sense. I hope I explained that right.
No, you explained it right because you are correct. It is, like Naya said, it is a slippery slope. It really is because when you think of in terms of how sensitive that is and how he's on a public platform with his mother, sharing his personal experience and their whole intention of why they were doing it in the first place is to help other people. But it's a real life thing, but at the same time, and I totally get what you're saying. I think when we look at what he's doing, because he's saying he's in the house, he's still in the bedroom where he used to get high. I feel like they can do more. Like maybe move his room, maybe because that house is huge. I'm pretty sure she got more than two bedrooms in that
No,
house.
you are right. One thing you said, and that Shani said in the comments as well, environment is everything.
Yes.
Environment is everything. That's why people that struggle with addiction, you always hear about them for the most part thriving when they leave the environment that they're in. And I'm not just talking
Hmm.
about a drive away. Like they need to get the hell on if they can. Like states, cities, all of that. Because he's just going to be reminded of that depression in that house. And then they're giving him an allowance. My head, when I was watching that, did make me mad with Mary. So I'm like, well, where's the little nigga getting the money for the weed? Where's that coming from? Where's that
Right.
coming from? Because he don't got a job. He don't got a
Exactly.
job. So I'm like, y'all want him to get sober? Stop feeding him fucking money. If you're gonna let him live there, that's fine. But don't let him live there and they give him the tools to go and get lit. Don't do that. It doesn't make
Hmm.
sense.
This is another thing Shani pointed out, that you said. Yes, he need to stay with Robert Senior because staying with Mary, I don't feel like for me is the answer because she's the mom, and of course she's not going to enable the habits, but there's ways. I call people who are constantly on substances motivational speakers. They know how to get you to give them what they need to get what they can get. So I feel like Mary falls for that because to me that's her precious kid. But I feel like Robert Senior is probably one of those dads that don't play, and you know if he was staying with Robert Senior, it would
He's
be
an
some ordinance
older
in
black
there.
man. He's an
Yeah,
older black man in Utah of all places, which is already a very like judgy state. They don't always believe in certain. They don't even let these people have liquor, let alone anything
right.
deeper. So I'm not surprised that Robert Senior is not on camera. But I also feel like there's something that Mary's not telling us about him. Like
What
he's
do you mean?
likely. I don't know. Like think of his age. Like he was married to her mom or grandmother. He was married to somebody in her family. This man is older than her significantly. And I can't help but think, because when I was doing social work at the senior center, I was like, man, they memory and they be declining in ways that they don't always like to admit all the time, or people don't always like to admit it. So I'm like, this man's been in hiding. All of his businesses in terms of money and properties and stuff are suddenly in the news for this foreclosure, that foreclosure. I'm like, what's going on with dude? Like, because it's weird that he's not around for his kid. Like that's a big reason to come back around on camera, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
So Mary said in an interview, because someone asked her how much older is Robert Sr. from you, and Mary said he's 18 years older. So he was a grown man when she was born. I don't know if he married the grandmama at 18 years old. Something tells me he did, but I just know that they're 18 years apart, which to me, because Justin and Whitney are the same age difference. So it's kind of like, yeah, looking at that situation, looking at it, it's a lot that go on in Utah. But I do agree with you. And I think that that's why these kids get a hold of certain things because they turn stuff off at a certain time. So there's a lot of curiosity to break that rule. And yeah, let me get my hands on something because at 9 o'clock it's illegal for me to go to the liquor store and get a fifth of Hennessy. So let me go ahead and get my hands. So I think
I'm
that that's another.
cracking up random. My husband's over here because we're driving somewhere. He's like, wait a second, married her grandpa. What? He's looking like, what is going on? He has no clue. I can understand the trauma though, because Mary's
Yeah,
situation is odd.
it is odd, very odd, but she had to do what she had to do to get her millions. I mean, if it wasn't going to be Mary, it was going to be her mama. So, we have to remember that her mama wanted to marry Robert Sr. and somehow ended up being Mary that married him. So, I try not to think that her husband shared over there because it gives me the land and riches, not my step grandpa. I'm good, Granny. But Justin was not her step grandfather. No, he's not. But at the same time, they're not blood related. And at the end of the day, they've been married for almost 30 years. So what can we say or what can we really do? It's already done happened. So it's just kind of like this man just moved around. And instead of the money going out of the family, that was the way to keep it in the family. But Mary was selfish because I don't think any of the family got to benefit from the millions other than Mary and her son. So, that's all I'm saying. But anyways, y'all, we're gonna move on because we spent way too much time on Mary. I just want Mary, if anything, he need to be with Robert Sr. Like I'm with him going with Robert Sr. and kind of getting
I
away from
think
Mary.
the opposite. I think Robert Sr. is a part of the problem. Something
Really?
tells me that because of that age gap, because of the lack of stuff in common and things of that nature, and the reason for marriage, I just don't feel like he was that present. I don't think he was intentional in that way, but I think it may be a generational thing, especially with older Black men, like the way that they parent, especially boys, isn't with as much care, which is what Robert Jr. needs right now. So I feel like Robert Sr. is a piece of the problem because you can try and shield your kids from whatever lack of normalcy exists in your relationship or in your life, but kids are smart and they'll still pick up on it. So I don't know. I just feel like he's part of the problem, but we'll never know because the nigga don't want to come on camera. Ew.
She said it's called an inheritance, not a husband swap. But that's her blessing, not mine. I hope for her son. I wish the best. Some of these states don't protect, family members when it comes to husbands. And I don't think her death was something that was like they knew. I think that she didn't have her shit in order because she was too busy on the businesses, and that's kind of what happened where it needed to happen immediately. And when you do shit that quickly and in state of sound and mind, they're gonna question that because why leave it all to Mary? That's just the thing. So I think it was just some more fucked up shit. I think Mary saw the opportunity for money and took it. That's just my opinion. I ain't mad at her. It is what it is. But I just think that there's something with that story. I don't fully buy it. But moving on, y'all. We're gonna move on because we've been, like I said, we've been too much on Mary. I love Mary and all. She my favorite housewife. But yeah. Um, we then have another scene with Heather meeting up with Bronwyn this time. And it was funny because Heather was there first, but Bronwyn pulled up and Heather was in the car and it looked like she was staring at Bronwyn walking in the restaurant. And she says to the man, "Wish me luck." And I'm looking at Heather like, "Man, you are the cause of this rift, but you need good luck." It is the delusions for me. Hold on, I'm gonna pause real quick because what y'all saying in this chat? Hold on. Naya said, "Ill, just ill blood or not. You know my grandma in a biblical way. I could never." Who said he did? I would have to strongly agree that it's related to Robert Senior. Related to Robert Senior. Okay, I mean, that's okay. But let me go ahead and continue on. We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll go forward and talk about that. But so yeah, Bronwyn and Heather sit down for lunch, and Heather immediately asked Bronwyn, like, what were you trying to do in the situation when it came to Lisa? And she goes, well, she has all these lawsuits and everything. And, I was just pointing out, the obvious, she's not there. And, this was her chance to really clear up some of the things that, are said against her. And, Heather just taking tally marks because she like, yeah, she said this about her. So I'm going to tell Lisa she said this. I'm going to tell Lisa she said that. Y'all going to get enough of going to Heather and telling Heather shit so she can run back and tell Lisa, I need y'all to pick up on this because y'all are slow when it comes to this. And then Bronwyn tells Heather, I just want to make sure because it seems like whenever I say something to you, it's one of those situations where you're always thinking it's an attack and we can never move forward or anything. And Heather's like, yeah, I want to know what you meant by that. And Bronwyn's like, look, I was talking about my parenting at the end of the day. I was not talking about you as a mother. I was saying that I may not have been a good of a mother if I'm not ready for my child to leave. And, how you parent is how you parent and how I parent is, different. And I just wanted you to know that it was never coming from a point of malicious. And I'm like, Bronwyn, this is where I'm going to need you to stop. Because Heather knows that shit. Heather wants a problem with you just because your husband didn't give you a prenup. It's very similar to Giselle Bryant when Monique Samuels came on Real Housewives of Potomac. When Giselle said, "Oh, you don't have a home," thinking she was being shady, and Monique doubled down and said, "No, actually, I have four homes, and we about to buy another one in Potomac." It was very much, and when she said that, it was and see, and we're seeing the parallels. How dare, this is in my mind, this is what I'm thinking Heather's, so not Heather. I don't know why Heather has it out for Braun. But how dare this pretty girl marry this man and not he doesn't have a prenup and he has millions of dollars? Like, how dare you? It makes me wonder if Heather signed a prenup. Mrs. Best, do you think Heather signed a prenup and that's why she's mad? Because it does not make sense to me whatsoever.
Honestly, I don't know how we got to prenup, but um based on her divorce, I'm sure there was a postnup.
Well, no, I'm just trying to say the rift between Bronwyn and why Heather will never see it for Bronwyn, it seems to stem from when Bronwyn said that she doesn't have a prenup. That's the point that I was making. And I was saying directly that I don't think Heather let that go, similar to when Giselle Bryant and Monique Samuels on the show. As soon as Monique said, I have four homes, that's when Giselle started to have a problem with Monique.
I don't
So it's
think the
kind of like,
prenup has anything to do with it at all. If there is or isn't one, I don't think the comment triggered her. I personally just think Heather is a hater. She don't like nobody new that come on this show, so it's very difficult for me to look for reasons that she may like, and this is just me personally, that she may dislike someone because she don't like nobody when they first get there.
I would agree with you had she not brought it up more. She brought it up more than once last season. So to me, I would agree with you. She brought it up once and they deaded it and it was done, and she never brought it up again. She brought it up more than once.
Either way, I feel like everybody gives too much light to Heather. If you're not going to talk about the reason why you don't like somebody, even in your confessional, then what is the point? Why? I just don't like how she handles stuff. She picks and chooses who she yells at and how she gets at them. And I'm kind of just over Heather. I think that's what it is.
I thought it was Naya. That's a good point because I thought it was this. I thought it was this originally, but the problem with Bronwyn, because in order for me to agree with this, Bronwyn would have had to been the kiss ass just like Heather, and then it would have been a fight to see who was going to kiss Lisa's ass the most,
I
and
do
that's
think
not.
it still could relate to Lisa though, if there was any reason. And the reason why is because Heather has been trying to be inside of Lisa's asshole since season one.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you have somebody that's coming on the show who was close to her, then after being close to her, the person ends up not being close to her and being willing to read her for filth and expose her. It puts the person that Heather's been working so hard to be inside of their asshole, it puts that hard work at risk. Because not many people are feeling Lisa right now, except for Karen's, it seems. I'm sorry. Not sorry.
Okay, so a lot of people think it doesn't have anything to do with the prenup. You just Heather's a hater. Okay,
Not
all right.
skinny Thanos.
I'm done with that.
You
Get
tried to go
Eddie.
right past that. That is the funniest thing.
Right.
You do look like him in the face.
She do, and I'm trying not to see it. Y'all wrong for this. Shady, you wrong for this. I'm gonna just put it up again. I'm just gonna put it up again because that is crazy. That is diabolical. That's my new favorite word. Hey Josh, nice to see you. Thank you for coming in. And I also think Heather doesn't like that there's a smart new girl on the show who speaks articulately. Same reason Lisa wants to fight Angie and not Brahma. She
Pocket
runs laps around
Josh.
her.
That's right,
Good point.
Josh.
That is a
She's
good
just
point.
a hater. She don't like nobody. Girls like that, haters. You don't like nobody smarter than you, richer than you. You mad that the girl, if she divorced her husband, can walk out of it with something. She's probably mad about a bunch of stuff. But overall, I just think Heather's a hater. She's easily intimidated by everybody because Mary reminded us that she looked inbred.
Damn.
I didn't say the shit. Mary said it. I just agreed.
And no, Mary not only said it, but then Mary doubled down
She
and
knew.
said, when Heather said, "You think I look inbred?" She Mary said, "Yeah, I do." I was done with Mary after that. I'm done with you, Mary.
Mary was
Heather,
smart for that because what's her face was trying to turn it around and make her look bad, but you can't do that when somebody stands on it. Because Heather's face afterward is like, oh,
no, this new procedure she did, Heather, no,
her
this was a
cheeks look
mistake.
sunken in, like the characters in The Night More Before
No,
Christmas.
she looked like you remember the movie The Mask with Cher? That's what she looks like.
Oh,
Yes. No, Heather strictly favors meatloaf. Shout out to Color Me Pink. Yes, she does. Um, and also Mary told her to go feed your kids. So no, she told that to Lisa because Lisa eat at Taco Bell. So that was Lisa's read. That shit was fun. That still has me tickled to this day. Because she said, you eat at Taco Bell for crying out loud. Your husband and your kids and yourself need some nutrients. I hollered. I said, damn,
which
Mary.
is interesting you bring that up because Lisa, why are you more upset at the other ladies for commenting on stuff that's already public when somebody told you to go feed your kids?
Right. Heather got insecurities and can't deal with them in a healthy way. She also snaps out with that strong ass. Y'all, I'm not doing this with y'all today.
It's true.
It's a new, do I look like okay, Naya,
Mm-hmm. I missed you, Naya.
I missed you so much. Oh my God, I missed doing this. Y'all, we got to continue on. So let's get to the last scene. So they go over to, what is that lady's name? I don't even know. I guess the new Angie Harrington of the show. I don't know if this lady is going to be a new cast member. I don't know if she's auditioning or if this was just somebody's house who was large and didn't mind having the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City in her house. I don't know. But they go over to this house where this lady is the socialite of Salt Lake City. Why she ain't on the show, I have no idea. Because none of these ladies are socialites, so it's crazy to me. Everybody got there, and I thought everybody looked horrible. I was like, what is everybody got on? Like, what the hell? I thought out of everybody, Bronwyn's look was the worst. I didn't understand Whitney's look. I'm like, what kind of event is this? Like, what are we advertising here? Let me go ahead and read these chats. Y'all are. Thank you, Josh. Her name was Amy. Thank you so much. Rocky from the Mask. My dad is buried in that cemetery where Rocky is buried. Oh my goodness. Yes, that was his name. Thank you for that. I'm so sorry to hear that. Your father passed. I can relate my father's past as well. But dang, Rocky. I'm gonna watch that movie. Share cracked me up in that movie. I make sure too. YouTube be playing with my notifications. Yeah, they do. I'm telling you, YouTube ain't nice to me. I know I should be monetized by now, but you know what? Hey, I have greater things ahead of me, so I ain't worried about it. But we at Amy's house, and the ladies are getting there. Lisa gets there last, and as Lisa's pulling up, you could see the tension between her and John. So something ain't right there. Something, for Lisa to say everything is all lies and everything is,
I'd be pissed too
misinformation.
if I went and read my local newspaper. If I opened up the Oakland Tribune and suddenly seen that my name is attached to lawsuits because my spouse been running around getting credit cards and doing nefarious things, I'm trying to tell you, there'd be tension too.
I don't see you in the car with Mr. Best if he did this, and y'all showing
He'd
up to
be
the
under the car
event
and I'd be out of a
together.
lawsuit.
Right. I guess Lisa doesn't love that for one. She clearly, she the one that did the wrong.
Listen,
According to the lawsuits, I don't know what she's sitting there mad about.
John sitting there thinking I chose the wrong fucking sister. God damn it. Because he might have.
And that's what makes me feel like there is truth to these lawsuits, but she wants to debunk this. That's what makes me feel like this is real because she's vindictive. So anybody who go after they siblings men is vindictive. So yes, you can do this. Yes, you're capable of this. If you can steal a man from your sister, you can steal a credit card from. She didn't steal the credit card. The man gave it to her, but still, this is very much in line of your personality, is what we're saying. So Lisa gets there, and she's making this big grand entrance, making all this noise. Everybody looking at her. So she goes up to Meredith and wants to know immediately, Meredith, what happened at this, camping trip? What I heard everybody was talking about me. And Meredith said, yeah, there were some things mentioned, and Meredith was taking forever to get to the point. So Brittany comes up and she goes, hi. She goes, yeah, there was definitely not talk about Bronwyn brought up the lawsuits and everything, and then Angie compared you to Jen Shaw, and Heather didn't tell her this part of the story. And if Heather did tell her this part, they cut it out. But and this was like, that's insane that she would say that Angie said this. Now, mind you, she was mad at Bronwyn, but as soon as she heard Angie compared herself to Jen Shaw, all that Bronwyn shit was out the window, and she was like, "Oh, I got to call Angie out. How you gonna compare us to our friend that's in prison and everything?" And I'm looking at Lisa like, "Oh Lord, here we go." So Lisa's moving around the room, so she finds Angie, but Angie is pre-warned by Whitney and who was with Whitney? I don't know who that was with Whitney, but she was like, "Oh, they're talking about it. They're talking about you, and they're saying how you compared Lisa to Jen Shaw and everything." So Lisa goes, "Hey, Angie, I need to talk to you. I need to, understand this. Why could you say that? Why don't you compare me to Jen Shaw and everything, and talk about the lawsuits and everything? Just throw all this on Angie. And Angie's, collecting herself." Bronwyn hears, she goes, "Actually, you're mad at me, and you need to have the conversation. We don't jump on Angie." And Lisa's like, "Oh, I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. I don't want to talk to you. Like, this is not, get away from me." And Bronwyn's like, "No, let's talk about this, Lisa. You're mad at me. You're not mad at Angie. Angie didn't do anything. I'm the one who said it. I'm the one who said it, Chief. It's me." And so um, Lisa's like, "I don't like you. I don't want you anywhere around me and everything." And she goes, "Oh, now you don't like me." And when I tell you, them two were going back and forth, and it was just so crazy. But when Lisa said, "Get her away from me, she's loitering. I don't want to talk to her," I said, "Not she loitering." I said, "Well, damn, Lisa." I had to give Lisa that one. That one was a good one. Not she's loitering. Mrs. Best, anyone ever said you were loitering before?
Absolutely not.
Right, like who the hell like said that? Like, y'all, it was crazy. What y'all saying? It was damn. Hold on. Lisa did that. I got this. John was trying not to park this season. He said, "Bitch called Uber like you called out for our dinner." Oh yeah, he was the one that couldn't park his Range Rover, and I thought it was Mary that entire time. I was like, "Look at Mary, she can't even park her car. Look at her." And then when he got out the car, it was John. That shit was funny as hell. Let's remember, John did date Lisa's sister first. Yeah, we remember. We ain't letting that go. Brittany sure did. Brittany was ready. I love that they use Jen Shaw like a slur, right? It's hilarious. To be honest, Lisa didn't know who she was actually mad at. No, you know what? No, she knows who she's actually mad at. She can't take her, and this scene proved it. That's just what it was. She said, "Ding, ding, ding, round one fight." She loaded it was. It was. I'm sorry, Lisa won me with that one. I was stuck. So they're going back and forth, and they're talking about, Brown's like, "I know that. I saw the lawsuits and everything," and Lisa saying, "They're all lies. It's all lies. It's all lies." And then she said, "You got suck." What she say? "You got sucking bitch" or something like that, or some shit. I can't even remember. All I remember was gout sucking dick
She
bitch
tried to say that she's sucking. It sounded like she was trying to say she's sucking gout dicks, but gout has to do with the feet. So I was
with the
like, this
feet.
did not give the way that she wants. The other thing is, what's wrong with sucking dick? I don't
I,
understand.
I don't want to tell my business on
No, it like
YouTube.
let's call a spade a spade. If you on this channel, you over 18. I suck dick. I ain't got no shame. Not multiples, but at least the husbands every now and again. So I don't understand how you gonna say that to a married woman and expect that to be a dig or shade. It's like, well,
No,
yeah,
she was
how
trying
do
to say is your husband old and shit, but I mean, she
so
got
what? So what? At
right.
least her man can park. At least her man can parallel park and has made millions and knows what his wife is doing. Because apparently Lisa's man don't know what Lisa's doing. Thank you, Kevin. Because I was thinking that too. Like the loitering comment was weird. Because I'm like, who says that?
Not
Like where I
Lisa,
grow up,
especially.
no one's like, "Oh, you're loitering, stupid bitch." Like, am I supposed to be offended at that? But Lisa just did not give, and I think Kevin's comment highlights like my opinion on the whole conversation. Just Karen energy.
It was Karen energy.
Like,
And Lisa was like, no, Rob's like, what's wrong with sucking dick? I mean, hey, I'm married. That's what I do and everything like that. And she goes, oh, yeah, you suck. And Lisa's like, no, you suck dick for money. You do. You suck dick for money. And she goes, well, I'm married. Like, of course, my husband's going to, ooh, that's not my headset. She goes, I'm married. Like, of course, I'm going to do it for my husband. Whitney, don't you like sucking dick? And Whitney said, absolutely, I do, with the big eyes and everything. I'm looking at Whitney like, okay. Whitney said, wait, that shit was funny as hell. Everybody was so confused by that. And then after that, it is she goes, Brown would get her with that. Well, you need to, pay off those lawsuits. Why don't you get some money, pay off those lawsuits? And Lisa's like, you need to go back to school. And Brown would say, you need to go back to work so you can pay off the lawsuits. We ain't done that. Pay off the lawsuits. I was hollering. She couldn't, because there's nothing Lisa could do. There's nothing Lisa could do at this point. So Bronwyn got her. I'm sorry, Bronwyn was the MVP for me because that shit was funny as hell. Bronwyn was like, no, I'm not letting that. That's just what it is. And she was. And I was like, damn, Whitney, it ain't that damn serious. I was like, her eyes were just like, yeah, I love sucking dick. He was like, oh, okay. Damn, she didn't say do all of that. Just agree to the question. Of course, Whitney going down on her husband. Why do you think Justin always got that big ass smile on his face? They all broke. Whitney was foaming at the mouth. Someone mentioned Brittany with sucking dick, but I missed too. No, Brown said, "Oh, did you get that with Brittany?" That's what she was saying. Whitney said, "Yeah, I read this one." Of course, Whitney be off sucking dick. Queen of strip hole.
I love Kevin Reynolds.
I love
you
Kevin.
Make me
I love
smile
you.
every
Yes.
time.
Whitney was getting her entire life. Hell, the whole party was like, get her. No, Amy was like, I know y'all ain't fighting in my house. Amy had to walk away a few times. I felt bad for her. Poor Amy, y'all were fighting in this lady's house. But what got me is that when Lisa said, I'm going to create a website where all of your lies. Oh, and Brian was like, oh, okay, so you want to exploit us like you did with everybody else in this group. And y'all remember last season with Whitney. That pretty much co-signed Whitney's incident. Because remember, Whitney accused her of this, of talking with bloggers and then creating fake profiles and stuff. And Lisa said it was all lies. So why is that your first comeback, Lisa? I thought you didn't do that. I thought it was all lies. So I don't know. I think Lisa got stunned, y'all. She got stunned. What we
Lisa
saying?
was red for filth. She deserved it. That is part of my beef with Salt Lake City. There was one season, the season with the other Angie that didn't make it, that I didn't watch because I was so bored with this show. Lisa is somebody who from season one has needed to be read for filth and put in her place and reminded that the world does not revolve around her. But all of the women have been afraid to do it. So I'm happy that Bronwyn did it. And that's why I feel like she is a good addition to this cast, because people will read you for filth without shedding a tear, without turning red, and without throwing water in your face or getting physical. And that's what Housewives is supposed to be. It's supposed to be like upscale ratchet, not the ignorant shit we've been getting. So I'm glad. Maybe Lisa will. Well, actually, no, she won't change. But
No,
at
she will
least
change. She's gonna be
deserve.
nonsensical and obnoxious her entire life. She got to pay for her life somehow. She just needs motivation. Justin ain't been working since season 2 of this show. What motivation does he need?
Why
And then
isn't
he
he?
signed
How
because
come
he
he never
signed
got
some
another job?
because he signed what's similar to a non-compete agreement allegedly. This is alleged. I don't know how true it is. But when that when his job went under and they got caught, he signed like a non-compete agreement or something where he couldn't get another job similar to his field for like 2
So
years or
change
something like
fields.
that.
So
That's what I'm
change
saying.
fields. Don't just not work for years.
Lisa, we're both talking about someone who need to go to school when Bronwyn was running verbal laps around her. Bronwyn is very articulate. The problem with Lisa can't handle Bronwyn because she thought Bronwyn was going to come on the show and kiss her ass like Kevin. That was the whole thing. And since Bronwyn didn't do that and actually called Lisa out on her shit, that's why Lisa's mad. Angie Harrington, yeah,
Let's not
Angie Harrington.
forget that though Bronwyn's husband is older than her and all of that, she did meet him when she was gainfully employed using her degree that she got while pregnant. So
Yeah,
I don't like when people do that, especially coming from women that got something so major done alone with a kid. Like, leave Bronwyn alone, Lisa. Okay.
I'm Team Bronwyn. I always will be Team Bronwyn when it comes to Lisa. Lisa, I don't see it for Lisa, y'all. I don't. Lisa is out of her mind, and like I can't wait to see someone that live in the Salt Lake City area or DM Rocks. Make sure you follow this lawsuit. I really want to see what the judgment was after all this is said and done. I want to see all of the details because I know that's going to be public record pretty soon here. So I want to see what happens. I know all those cases did not get dismissed in 2-3 weeks. I know it did. So I can't wait to see. Is there anything else that happened on this one? Anybody
No,
else I need to mention? Yeah, it was a good episode, y'all. I was here for everything. I was when I tell you the ending part gave me everything that I needed. Shout out to Bronwyn. I heard on Watch What Happens Live, she said that she's closest to Mary. So I'm hoping that's the new. I like Angie and Mary, don't get me wrong, I do. But I feel like Mary and Bronwyn at the reunion would be a force to be reckoned with, especially if Heather, because I could see Heather coming at Mary for some reason. I don't know. I feel like I need somebody to get Heather together. I do.
I'm all for Angie, Bronwyn, and Mary. I think the three of them, and Whitney seems to be warming up to them also. I think if the three of them are smart, they'll protect each other, stick up for each other, and they can actually, if they play it smart, ice out or at least get Lisa to realize she ain't all of that. Heather and Lisa, because Heather and Lisa are two of the most useless people on this show. And I know people think because the first episode they were all talking about Lisa, but she don't really give them room to talk about anything else. So I would love to see them change the dynamic with this cast.
Shani, I didn't forget about this. I don't want to talk about it because I don't believe it. I think that she's delusional and stupid, and I think he's looking for an opportunity to be on TV. That is my opinion.
Brittany is on TV and on this show because she is stupid enough to do whatever production asks her to, no matter how big or how small, for a
Hmm.
dollar, no matter how big or small that dollar is. Like, production always needs someone that's going to do as they say, and Brittany will give that. Even that scene where she came and told Lisa what was really said about her, I don't know why it just looked like production was probably like, go over there and let her know. Because they were all trying to avoid it for whatever reason.
Right. And so for me, him being in this scene, him being on this episode, I'm not impressed. I'm not, this is not something that I really feel like is worth mentioning because we know he don't want her, but he can't get with anybody else on the cast to get him on this show. So therefore, hey, why not be with the ditzy broad and give her a little something, something every now and then, make her thrust her in. You know what he's doing? He's breadcrumbing her. That's it. He ain't doing nothing but breadcrumbing her. And she's stupid enough to fall for it because she's always trying to find her a man, but neglecting kids. So, I don't see it for Brittany. I'll never see it for Brittany. Based on her story, I won't see it for her. The lady whose house they were in ran away because these bros are screaming suck dick at the top of their lungs in the middle of a party. Yeah, see, that lady got cool. That's why she probably didn't want to come on the show. I feel like they wanted her to be on the show, but that lady got cool. That lady got class. She ain't trying to be on the show with all of these women, with Lisa over there throwing tantrums in the middle of her living room and stuff. She don't want to be on the show with them. I wouldn't either. I told her to get out of my house, making all that noise. But that's it, y'all. That was Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. It was a really good episode. I'm loving the show. I'm happy to be back on YouTube. I'm a little rusty, y'all, so y'all bear with me, but I'm going to get back to where I used to be. We're going to head over to Mrs. Best channel because we have Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Woo! That was an episode. But yes, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you're not subscribed to me, please subscribe to the channel. It is free. I am not charging anybody. I don't have one of those for members only because I don't have enough people to do that. And even if I did, it would still be free because at the end of the day, y'all always show me love. Y'all always here. And I do this for fun, most importantly, but I would love to make income where I ain't got to go to work anymore. So do that for me, y'all. Do me that solid. Make sure y'all tell a friend to come watch us. I will be back on my show on Saturday, I believe, for Hard Hustle Houston. So I'll see you guys then. Have a good one now. Y'all be safe. Bye-bye.